わさびアニメすごいですね。
What's up? How's everyone doing this Sunday? I am Ryan, also known as RCB, and joining me today is my friend Alex, also known as Duelist of Juicy Gaming. And yeah, so you want to run a gaming tournament in this climate, in these times? Um, yeah, that is possible, obviously, with online, but we're here to kind of educate and kind of present what goes into running a gaming tournament nowadays. Of course, a little background on both of us, and I'll let Alex introduce himself here as well. But I've been running gaming tournaments for the past 4 or 5 years here in Jacksonville, Florida, from fighting game tournaments to even doing other tournaments such as Overwatch and a few other games in those genres that are considered competitive gaming. I've also been on staff for some premier regional events, such as Tampa Never Sleeps, that is obviously in Tampa, Florida, and also a really big national, actually, two big national tournaments that are here held in Florida as well. CEO and CEO Taku. And Alex, I'll let you introduce yourself as well, who is part of Juicy Gaming that is based in Orlando, Florida. So, Alex, go ahead and tell everyone what you're about.
Pleasure. Name is Alex, aka Duelist, known in the gaming community. Usually in Orlando, Florida, we are known for one of the biggest fighting game tournaments in the world called CEO Gaming. And Juicy provides a little bit of a local feeling for that area, since CEO is more focused on the biggest events. We want to make sure players living in the area have a lot of place to practice to. Um, and usually we focus more on not just fighting games. We're able to do stuff for card games as well as shooters such as Call of Duty and Valorant. But baby steps to get there, since Valorant is also new. And during these times, there's not really a lot of competition. For myself, I've been doing tournaments since college for about 3, 4 years now. Starting with Super Smash Bros. I'm a Smash kid, what people would call me, but opening the doors to other fighting games and now more games to that, it's just been an enjoyable experience. Running these tournaments have been definitely hard, definitely taxating both mentally and financially, but it's always been an enjoyable time for me to do it.
Yeah, and you kind of brought up like some key aspects with it, with not just trying to put on the tournament itself, but like all the different elements that comes into it. In a sense, it's kind of like a convention in regards, right? Obviously, with WasabiCon and everything that happens with that, all the different elements where you have to have, partners, influencers, sponsorships, things along those lines, volunteers as well to help with that. It's the exact same thing with like the offline gaming tournaments that we did with CEO and CEO Taku. Before Alex and I became staff in a sense for CEO, we started off as volunteers, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
it was
Right, those
we
brackets on the sideline.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Gosh, brackets. Yeah. How many people that would run brackets, try to get volunteers for that was just something that was always a chore, to say the least, but it was still, you had a lot of people that would wanted to do it, and volunteers definitely make up the, backbone of those offline tournaments, just like, conventions, for example, because there's a lot of volunteers that happen that are there with conventions as well. So, um, obviously, with the different things that's been going on, with the times now, a lot of those obviously offline events, a lot of them got canceled this year. So, we've had to obviously change and adjust to doing things more on an online basis. Um, Alex, you are part of something that is honestly one of the fastest growing online tournaments on Friday nights, helping Tong out with the Tampa Never Sleeps Marvel versus Capcom 3 Parsec tournaments for PC, which, I mean, that's that's a national showcase that you and Tong and everyone that's involved with that, Proxy, Angel, has been able to like make that into a really big thing in these type of times. Kind of, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the wonderful thing we have now is Parsec, which is basically a program where you're able to share your screen and basically play local multiplayer games with someone far away. So we're able to adapt to that since they have the ability to basically share the window of a game on your computer screen and play with someone far away that's using the same program. Now, what makes it difficult is even if you do it on your own screen, there is going to be an advantage of someone that's playing on the host's computer. They're going to have an advantage no matter what. So we wanted to make sure it's fair for anyone joining any of the servers we host. So working with the offers from Google and Amazon where they have AWS and cloud servers, we're able to open up like our own cloud machine where we just install Nevada, I believe it's called, where you play computer games on, and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on them, and boom, that's an entire computer setup on there. And then we basically ask players to go on it. They should have the same ping, and then they just play off of that. So it's equal grounds they can play on. And with the AOS servers, there'll be less lag between someone from connecting from California to Florida. We find a server that's a middle ground for those players, and they're able to have the same input lag. There's going to be lag no matter what, but we able to like make it as minimal as possible.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the prime example. Like that's just for what goes into the online tournaments now. And this is kind of like an example why I wanted to bring this one up first, because that particular tournament with Marvel 3, one thing you learn about certain games when you're trying to put together tournaments and where you're trying to put together um, you know, different tournaments with different games. Unfortunately, when it comes to online play and online compatibility, not every game is created equal. Marvel versus Capcom 3, while a very popular game, while a very fun game, the net play on that game is not that great.
It's
It's
really
not
bad.
very good.
It's really bad.
Very bad net code. Even with having amazing internet at your place or whatever, if the other person doesn't have a great internet or whatever, or even if it's subpar, the net play experience is not going to be great. So with this introduction of a program here, which I'll kind of share what we have here with some of the things that goes into this. So like some of the popular programs and apps that's used for these tournaments, Parsec is a third-party server-based program that is used as well, which basically allows other people to connect either to your PC or, as what Alex was explaining, connecting via a server. So what were the servers that you use for Tampa Never Sleeps, Alex? Is it Amazon?
Yeah, the main one is Amazon, and then we're able to work with someone, Jason Game Dev, wonderful guy from Washington who's able to work directly with the team of Parsec. Is able to show the properties of cloud servers from Google.
Yeah, and basically what that does is what Alex was saying is it allows about as close to the same latency as possible between the players. So instead of it being a deal where the players are connecting to each other in a sense, they're just connected to one dedicated server that's going to allow them equal footing as far as the tournament play is concerned. Is that correct, Alex? Is the way I'm explaining it? Okay. So that is how these have been able to kind of get going with that. And Parsec itself is a free program. Anybody can download that and use that and set up an account and be able to play that way. The servers, though, on the other hand, where you are trying to create those cloud servers for the players to connect to, there is cost involved in that, and that depends on how much you're wanting to use that server and the expenses on that definitely vary, um, as far as the use for that. So that's kind of like one thing that you look at with that. It's a very involved thing. And, again, to kind of go like as far as the behind the scenes for it and everything, that's just one aspect of the tournaments that alone take place here on these Friday nights for, the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Parsec tournaments. That's just for the players to play. There's other elements involved with this, communicating with the players, having them, make sure they're playing the right person. Also the bracket organization and registration. There's a lot of, again, moving parts to these things behind the scenes that kind of creates try to create the best player experience you possibly can. Some of the other programs that we'll talk about here, as well. So the bracket programs. These bracket programs are programs that are used for players to enter said tournament, register for the tournament, and also the organization of seeding the bracket properly for players and then being able to run it as efficient as possible. The two most popular programs, out there are Smash.gg, and Challenge.com. Alex, I'll kind of let you talk about it, this one a little bit here, because obviously you've used both of these programs as I have. I guess we'll start off with Smash.gg a little bit. Smash.gg obviously is the most popular one as far as the bracket system goes, right? It does have some pretty unique capabilities as far as how it allows you to put everything together, as far as with what you want to do with that. It's used pretty prominently for just about everything. Fighting games mainly, which again, that's primarily background for myself and Alex has been in the fighting game community. But yeah, Smash EG has some pretty unique capabilities as far as doing brackets, right, Alex?
100%. There's definitely a lot of features you can work with. They're always innovating literally every time they see a mistake because, it was first developed by a group of team in Georgia who in into fighting games and also into web development. So they decided to make this all together. And even though it has issues, it still has tons of features that works with running events in general, and it keeps a lot of things in track for you. Usually information about the players, able to easily work with itself to make it easier for anyone to use it. It does take a lot of knowledge and it does take a lot of experience to use it. Like for example, I never knew there was a feature that basically decides on set time for players to begin their matches. So, for example, if someone's like, "Oh, what time do I play?" They can log in their Smash GG account and see the time, place, and games they're playing at. That's an amazing feature where they don't have to post a schedule. It's already in their account. So a lot of features on Smash GG does benefit you players. Just you gotta bear with once programming issues happen, but they're always on speed dial to contact you if you need any help with running the event.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say for sure. Like they do have an incredible customer service, so to speak, or troubleshoot as far as it goes, because it's very simple chat box that you pull up, say, "Hey, I'm having an issue with this." They look at it and then kind of fix it from there as far as whatever the issue may be. And like what Duelist was saying, every player that has an account set up on Smash EG, when it comes to their tournament play or whatever, they have their own player dashboard. So it keeps them organized as far as knowing when to play, who they're playing against, what time their match is going to be taking place. So it's very much a very solid information hub for when it becomes tournament time. Some of the other cool things about this, which by the way, this will be a good time for me to promote this as well. I'm actually using Smash GG here for the Tekken 7 tournament that we're going to be
Oh
having
my god.
afternoon at 3 p.m. Yes, the WasabiCon Online King of the Iron Fist Tekken 7 tournament, which again is at 3 o'clock. Tekken 7 on PC, by the way. If you live in Florida and you want to play, you can register here. Smash.tg, look for WasabiCon Online, and you'll be able to get in. We got 21 entrants as of now for this afternoon. So it's going to be, a pretty stacked tournament and some of Florida's strongest when it
Oh
comes
my
to Tekken
god.
7.
JTT and Skywalker there. That sounds
Oh,
hype.
yeah, we know some of those guys, some of those Central Florida players that are in there. But yeah, $100 cash prize as well to the winner of the tournament. It's also going to be streamed on my channel this afternoon, twitch.tv/RCB_FGC. If you want to, check out some of the action and see what some of the online Tekken tournament plays looks like. But yeah, this is kind of like, the splash page here of like how everything was set up with the tournament, right? Brief description of, what the tournament is going to be. Lets people know that the tournament's going to be on PC. Registration is only for players who reside in Florida. Registration will end at 2 o'clock because I'm going to need a little time to, seed the bracket properly and everything, but 3 p.m. start time. Couple other features, let people know. As far as the participants go, all the participants have to be in a specific Discord channel, which we'll get into the Discord here in just a second, because that's basically the primary way to be able to communicate with not just players, but also commentators and tournament organizers, your bracket runners, as far as that goes. And then, yeah, I had to put this in here. Please have a hardwired connection. Don't play on Wi-Fi. If you play on Wi-Fi and you're found out to be playing on Wi-Fi, I will disqualify you. No ifs, ands, or buts. We don't like Wi-Fi connections for these tournaments.
No one does.
No one does.
In general gaming, no one does.
No. Now, granted, there are some games that are capable of handling Wi-Fi, but please don't. Just don't do it. Don't do Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is bad. So this is the way it looks, and then you go. Here's some of the attendance right here that shows.
Yo, Dr. Blaze and Peanut.
Is
No. He actually, so other tournaments we know are example, we involve ourselves in the Tekken World Tour, and luckily they're able to adjust the situation as well, doing online tournaments based upon region. And the East qualifying tournaments, Dr. Blaze and Peanut got third.
Oh, interesting. That's a good one to watch. And of course, we also have Reflex, who's one of Jacksonville's strongest players, King Ray Jr., who are huge parts of the, not just Tekken community here in the Southeast, but also nationally as well. So, yeah, there's definitely some, star power here, to say the least.
Oh, no, there's talent. There's talent. I just look at the names and I'm like, I miss the homies.
that is kind of the worst part, right? Like, it's cool that we're able to like adjust and do these online tournaments, but we miss offline, we miss events. That's kind of what it comes down to. And then of course, just looking over the rest of the page here, you got obviously admins, which is me, contact info, how you can contact, rules, and all that stuff. So this is kind of like a look of the what players see as far as when they're trying to register for the tournament. You got this big register now button that you'll be able to click on to register there. So this is kind of like how Smash GG looks as far as the front end goes. And then for admins and for the players that set it, or for the organizers that set it up, you also have your back end info here of setting up different tournaments. If you wanted to add a different event here, how you want to set up your brackets, rules and seedings. And then when the actual tournament's in play here, you got your brackets, and you can, basically update the brackets in real time as the tournament progresses. Now with online, it kind of has a unique feature with online where because of, let's be honest, some players, even with some of the functionality that Smash GG has, sometimes things can be a little confusing. As far as, players trying to check in and trying to make sure that they, are playing their matches correctly and everything. Um, Luckily with Smash GG, it allows you flexibility to be able to like adjust things on the fly as well in case there's an issue, a player inserts a score wrong, or the case may be. So it allows that functionality to be able to fix things as quickly as possible, and also allows you to set timers. Oftentimes in tournaments, you have players that are not able to show up or just flat out don't show up at all. So, in order to have that tournament progress, you know, efficiently, you are able to set timers, which what we call DQ timers. If a player isn't able to check in, or a player is just a no-show within a certain time frame, the bracket will then adjust itself automatically, and then keep things progressing. It doesn't allow anything to be stalled, and also at that point providing a unpleasant experience for the players and everything. So obviously that's kind of the thing. You want to try to have it run as smooth as possible. And Smash GG does have quite a few tools that allow you to do that. Now, another program that is used as far as the tournament brackets are concerned is Challenge. Challenge has been around for a while. It was honestly, it was the first program that I was using for tournaments before Smash GG kind of came around. And Challenge is unique in regards that it's a very simplistic system that you could use. Like if you need to set something up quickly and you want to, have something there right away, Challenge is definitely a program that's used as well. And I know we used Challenge for WasabiCon. What was that? That was 2 years ago, I believe, when we had our Road to WasabiCon series a couple years back. We used Challenge for the final days that we had and everything. Again, a more simplistic system, but it is something that's still pretty prominent. That's used. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to still use nowadays because they're updating it as well. They even have their own features for online, different from Smash GG, where you need to check in right before it. Like there's a check-in window right before it starts. Players check in, and the bracket reseeds itself based upon people that checked in. So anyone that didn't check in, they're out of bracket. So it's really cool to see them still innovating stuff today. And I highly recommend Challenge for people new to tournaments because
Yeah.
it's such an easy interface that you won't get lost in the features they have. It's simple, and a lot of players can understand just looking at it and putting their scores in. Smash UG can be complicated and says there's a lot of steps to get to the tournament part, but once you get a good understanding, it's good to go.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly like the perfect way to say it. Like if you're new and you're wanting to take a shot at running your own tournament, Challenge is definitely a good starter program to get involved with its simplistic approach to be able to at least get things right. That's a new feature for me, and I guess it shows like how long it's been since I used Challenge. It's actually a neat feature that you brought up, saying like if there's a player that doesn't check in or anything, it just removes them flat out. Like so that's a pretty cool thing to have. That makes things a lot easier, especially for TOs.
Mhm.
For Challenge. All right. So the next one, and I kind of highlighted this a little bit as far as, when we were talking about the Tekken 7 tournament that's going to be taking place today, showing off Smash EG, Discord. What is Discord? If you're not, a gamer or anything along those lines, you hear this word, you hear about this application, Discord. Alex, what is Discord? I'm new to this. What exactly is this Discord program that's being brought up now?
Oh boy, put me on the spot like that, good sir. But Discord is a way to communicate with your players or other people in their own servers that can be set up on however you would like, or communicate with them directly. And with
Mhm.
Discord, you can see if they're playing their game right now, if things are being streamed right now, and then communicate directly with them so there wouldn't be any issues. And luckily, Discord can be on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet. So if you're not able to access your computer while you're playing the game, you can communicate on your phone. So it's just like a regular tournament where they're right there next to you, reporting their scores or showing they're having issues, Because in these brackets, there's not an easy way to communicate with them directly.
Mhm.
So Discord
Yeah,
is like a backup.
yeah. It's a communication tool that allows you to basically be your one-stop hub in a sense for your players to know where they're going, who they're having to play against, and also communicate with each other. If someone's having an issue trying to get in touch with somebody, like a player trying to, figure out who they're trying to, you know, um, play against, and they're having issues trying to contact them. Well, there's TOs that's in there too, and they can tag the tournament organizer or bracket runner in this case, and say, "Hey, I'm having issues trying to get in touch with my opponent here. Can you help me?" Um, then we try to track them down with that. And again, it's a communication tool that's used to be able to help that out. But it's also has its other uses too. There's voice chat in Discord as well. So there's different channels that you could set up as well in Discord for commentators. For example, they could be in their own channel, and that's how commentary is done, taking place there, and being able to commentate matches and being able to watch that in real time. It really is a pretty involved app when it comes to you know people who are playing games. And it's not just used obviously for tournaments. I mean, yeah, tournament communication is big with it, but it's a big program in general for gamers themselves with, you know, playing a game online that maybe doesn't have a really strong voice chat. You could just throw Discord on the side and be able to use Discord with your friends and everything while you're playing in games and stuff. But it's definitely one of the more useful apps as far as just communication as a whole within the gaming community. And I'm sure it's very much a program you guys use for your Marvel 3 tournaments that you do on Friday nights, right, Alex?
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a must need program as far as your tournament organization and tournament running when it comes to that. It's actually yeah, it's of all the programs to use, that probably is going to be the most important tool to use for your tournament organization. The bracket running obviously is super important because you want to have something that's going to be able to keep things organized and everything. But as far as communication tools, like it is apparent number one most important thing to have for your communication with that. So yeah, if you're ever looking to start an online tournament, um, get Discord first. Get Discord first. Figure out how you can set up your server and channel with that, and organize that as best as you can, and make it as easy as possible to understand for those players and everything. Because I mean, look, you'll be honest, man. You'll get new players all the time, and they won't know how to handle certain things. But you try to make it as simple as possible to understand and be able to use. Again, it makes the player experience that much better for them. So prominent, kind of like talk about some other prominent online tournaments as far as like if you're wanting to do this and everything, you're wanting to do your own online tournament, what are some tournaments out there that are really good examples of online tournaments as far as how it's organized and presented and shown to the world? um Alex, I brought up obviously the Marvel 3 Parsec tournaments that you guys do on Friday nights. There's also one that I'm also a part of that's done on Sundays typically, Ronin Rumble, which
Oh,
is a
those are
group I'm
great.
part of. Yeah. And Ronin Rumble has done tournaments for Samurai Showdown. That's actually how they started, was with Samurai Showdown when the new Sam Show came out a couple years back. So it started there. Then it's evolved in a sense to doing other different tournaments as well. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus has been a fairly popular game that's been showcased online for online tournaments and everything. Pretty solid player base with that. Also has evolved into other games like Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which Ronin Rumble did the first one of. That was, hey, thanks for taking my suggestion on that, guys. Appreciate that. Ended up being pretty successful there, but yeah, the possibilities are endless as far as what you can do with an online tournament. But with that said, it does require a lot of different back end work that was, discussed here, organization, also getting proper help, because there's a lot of different, again, just kind of showcasing what goes on behind the scenes with it. There's a lot of back end elements that are needed to be able to execute a proper online tournament as best as you can. Um, when it comes to, making sure these things go off without, any issues or any, possible obstacles that may come up with it. So there's all these different things that you look at and everything. And again, that's just the online side of it. Offline tournaments, obviously, it's a little easier in that sense, because, well, I say easier. Let me rephrase that. It's it's a lot more. I'm trying to figure out the right word for this. Like the communication there is a lot better in those because it's more person to person. While there is a lot more people to it, obviously, because it's offline event. Um, you can be able to like communicate a lot easier because it's in person. And I think that's like one difference when it comes to that. But yeah, offline tournaments, obviously a lot more involved. Think of it as basically your basic conventions and everything. um Alex, I guess I could ask you this and everything, like big differences obviously with online versus offline. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here again, and I apologize, but what are some other major differences that you've seen between online and offline as far as events and tournaments go?
I feel like with online, it's more of a heart to heart with players because a lot of it is more like, should you be able to compete or not? There's nothing on the line most of the time, and there's definitely a lot less responsibilities you need to handle with online tournaments. Because there's no venue to worry about. There's not really a lot of sponsors to please other than the ones they're willing to support the online events.
Hmm.
Uh, and the only issue I feel with that is with online, it's harder to find the players because usually they have to meet at one spot, and if they're not there, that's easy disqualification. But now it's just they say hi and then they can just disappear and you wouldn't know where they are.
Hmm.
So a lot of the hardship in online is you're always backtracking, you're always trying to figure out if everything's going right. Um, so that's I feel like the only hardship in online. With offline, there's a lot more hardship. You got to make sure things are in order. You got to put out fires before they even happen. You got to make sure everything is swimming on time because you have deadlines to meet. With
Right.
online, you're all home. Other than like if you personally have something to do after, there really is no deadline.
Right. Yeah, I think you worded it better than I did with that, as far as that goes, because oh geez, the stories we can go with with some of the things we had to
But
battle with offline events.
I feel like you get to learn more with offline than online.
Yeah.
Online, once you master bracket organization and running a tournament, it's gonna go swimmingly, and it doesn't feel the same. But with offline, you get to learn more, you get to network, you get to meet new people.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's obviously like how we got all of our starts basically with that and everything. I remember, geez, I remember a couple years back when you and Eris started up Juicy and everything, and you guys came up and for one of the revival tournaments that we did and everything stuff like that, and then seeing what you guys did from there and what it was before unfortunately things happened the way they did with COVID now and stuff like that. It was really cool to see like you guys started what you guys started in like some garage or something and then like the next thing you're hosting monthly tournaments at like what was the hotel was it the
It was Hilton Garden. I am
yeah
upset
yeah
now.
yeah
I got another contract, and I'm like, I can't do anything with this contract.
Yeah, that's the worst. And it wasn't just that, like the monthly side of it. And now this is kind of going into like the workload of like on a regional or even local side of tournaments, right? Because as mentioned before, we, have been part of, staffs for national tournaments like CEO and CEO Taku and even big regional tournaments like Tampa Never Sleeps and everything. But it really, in all honesty, started off at a very local level. And that's doing like just local weekly meetups at, in my case, at like restaurants and stuff like that. And just going to a restaurant and be like, hey, you want, 40 or 50 people coming into your restaurant to buy stuff and just play games? Hey, I can do this for you. And doing that and just providing that experience. And Alex, I know in your case, you guys had big numbers for your weekly stuff that you did, especially with Smash. Um, that were on a weekly basis is like, geez, I didn't know how you did half the stuff you did with that with weeklies,
Uh,
especially with Smash.
Dude, communicating, understanding, and being a hard person against them because I tell them always with the restaurants especially, it's like I gotta cap it. If you're not here, you're not entering.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
it definitely will get to that point too. When it comes to that. Um, Kind of going back to what you're saying though, with like differences between offline and online. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with it being the responsibility aspect because you'll get a lot of people that will just sign up and then just not show up the day of or just not play, because it is that deal where it's like, oh, okay, you know, I signed up for this, but I really don't need to commit to it. It's like if I feel like playing, I will. If I don't, then I'll just
go
skip it.
hard.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's no you know accountability, I guess, in that regard. Whereas for the offline events, you think about the people that are spending the money to travel, spending the money to even like get to if they're traveling from out of state or from out of town or whatever, they have that money for the hotel, which is why a lot of the tournaments were held at hotels because it was just like, hey, they were all there, so they could just go here and then
And also can be
go to the
run
ballroom.
late. So it's like
Yeah.
if your tournament starts at 7, it's gonna finish at 11:30, and I'm like, do I want to make a 2-hour drive back home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've yeah, there's been that on multiple occasions. So it's just again, I guess this is kind of like the moral of this panel and everything is just like a lot of back end work, and it's very much similar to what you see with conventions and even the adjustments conventions that have had to make with transitioning to doing more online stuff, with all the different back end work that goes into putting these things together. And even if it's the smallest local event that is done on a weekly basis to even these bigger events that you're used to seeing with CEO Taku, Combo Breaker, even Evo, before all the stuff that happened with that, which is a completely different story that we'll get into another time. But it's just there's a lot of different things that goes on with these tournaments with that. Do want to again kind of promote the Tekken 7 tournament that is going to be taking place this afternoon at 3 o'clock. It is the WasabiCon Online King of the Iron Fist Tekken 7 tournament that will be again hosted by me at 3 o'clock. Registration is going to end at 2 o'clock. If you are a Tekken player that plays on PC, you can register for this. And also, again, you have to be from Florida or residing in Florida for this event. And again, you can check out the Discord link as well. That's the main communication that will take place for the players. So definitely, again, get involved if you want to participate. It is free entry. And again, please have a hardwired connection when it comes to that. All right. So I know we still have a few minutes here as far as the tournament, as far as the panel goes here with so you want to run a gaming tournament. I can take some questions if you guys want to ask anything as far as, what else is involved with these. We'd obviously like to answer those and everything with a little bit of time here and everything. But Alex, some of the other things with tournaments that you've been doing and everything. Kind of talk a little bit about what you've done with Juicy and like how that's kind of evolved and progressed with what you guys were basically doing before things started taking place with COVID and everything.
Before I start on that, I want to put a fun fact for you. So
Fun fact. I like fun facts.
I know, but if anyone can't find the event page, luckily on Smash UG in their search bar, you type Wasabi, and that's the first thing that comes up.
Hey, that's right.
I can't use my keyboard. If you scroll down the Tekken 7 section, it's the first event that pops up on the homepage.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, front page stuff. I like that.
For Juicy though, we've been accommodating to the situation. We were hoping because when it all started, we were planning a lot of things for the upcoming monthly. Obviously, I mentioned new contract, more games to add on because I think this would be the first time we would be hosting Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Obviously that hit. We stopped the weeklies since we got a notice that we should cancel, so we did. And noticing it, not everything get better, we're like, all right, we want to still provide an environment. So we first started with Juicy Goes Online, grabbing some of our top picked games we hosted to see if that would work. It was a $5 entry. We provide the prize, and all the money that comes in would be put back to the community.
Right.
Restaurants, a lot of workplaces were had to be shut down, and they're losing money. So every time we had someone enter, we used the money to donate our local venue or some other place that needed our help in the Orlando community.
Mm.
Over time, it changed because a lot of people, losing jobs or unfortunate situations, they can't afford to enter the tournament. So after a while, we decided to make it completely free and do what we can personally to help these local places. Luckily now, our local venue, which was Ready Game Begin, located in Orlando near Universal, it's doing better. It's luckily able to be reopened now with actually precautions and really outdone their setup. Like if you follow their Instagram or Facebook, they've been reinventing the whole venue into such safe and chill environment, if I can picture well. It's just astonishing how he keeps innovating the place to make it a safe, fun place for players to go to.
Yeah, and there's been a few groups that have been able to do that, right? I think another one that kind of comes to mind, 404 Esports, that's in Georgia. They've been able to kind of work things to being able to try to do some stuff offline and trying to be safe as far as they go, as far as their events go and everything, that I've been able to see, like some of the things they've been able to do. So there have been some groups that have been able to try to find a way to like do offline events in a safe manner, trying to provide as much space as possible, make sure you're wearing a mask and things along, those
It's
safety
just
procedures.
it's hard because when you have
It
a
is.
large brand such as if Revival is able to host something next month, it's a lot more for Ryan to manage because he has to think about all the people, how he's going to
Hmm.
fund it to be successful, and then if he has the proper equipment and supplies to literally disinfect and make it safe for everyone's health.
Yeah, and that's definitely another thing too, especially when you think about all the. I mean, you brought up the equipment side, for example, right? Like, all those, a lot of the. I mean, it's different for the national events, but for the like locals and regionals, a lot of those, setups and everything are brought in from the community, from the
You know, it's
players and
funny though.
everything.
I've been buying from some of the national events. It's the hard times now.
Yeah, it really is. So, you have all that to kind of keep in mind and factor in, during this and everything too. And I think again, that's why everyone has, shuffled to go to that online route because of it being just easier to do. Oh, Kate B. Burrow
Yeah,
asked
I
about,
just saw that too, and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, I got a
those,
good one."
yeah. I trust me, I got one too.
Go, Red,
The
go.
last revival that we did. Yep, that, oh god. So one thing about um doing offline events, and this was also something that kind of happened a little bit, Tampa Never Sleeps, as well, but we were able to get around it. There is this one thing that can happen, and I'm pretty sure this has also happened at conventions and everything too. Sometimes you run into power issues. Um, you try to map everything out and you try to like organize everything the best you can to try to make things, look good. And you come across all of a sudden a whole section of the room in a matter of seconds losing power. And it's just one section. Why would that be the case? Because for whatever reason, said venue had a old plan as far as how their electrical set up, and literally half the room that they had there was all off of one circuit. Meanwhile, the other room, for whatever reason, had 5 different circuits.
Dude, it was godsend.
Don't know why. Yeah, we
It was,
literally had like 12 Grand Blue setups running on one side of the room, and yet everywhere else in said
everywhere
venue
else died,
lost power except for the Grand Blue section.
which
To me,
had the most
it is
people. It was
to
so
me
funny.
to me that is the most wild thing I ever came across in my life. I'm like, how is that even possible? But yeah, that's
We had no idea how to distribute the power in that short amount of time.
no, it was, oh god, it was brutal.
It was literally trial and error every time.
Yeah, and this was also a new venue that we were doing this in because the old venue that we used to have was no longer in operation. So we were trying to, try to find some different spots to be able to, you know, move on and do revival in and everything. But yeah, power. Ugh. That is one thing you always have to be cognizant of. And I bring up Tampa Sleeps because they were, and we were part of this too. We all had to redistribute the
Five
day
five hours.
before. Yeah,
5 hours.
it really was. It
5 hours
yeah,
of our setup time we used trying to figure out where should we plug everything in.
absolutely. So, well, guys, that's us. That's hey, if you wanted to run a gaming tournament, hopefully we helped educate you and show off the things that we have to use to be able to do that. So we hopefully, been able to give you something there. Alex, any final words before we call it a day?
Please be safe out there, people. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And again, 3 o'clock, our twitch.tv/RCB_FGC. If you want to see an online tournament, check out the Tekken 7 tournament that's going to be taking place as well as part of WasabiCon. So for Duelist, I'm RCB. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time, and enjoy the rest of what WasabiCon has to offer for the rest of the panels for today. Y'all take care. Be easy.